So the first week of internship, the most important thing that you technically need to do is to make sure that you set your goals with whosoever is your manager. The internship is a very short period of time. You need to make sure that you ramp up on the project and the technical expertise, whatever is required, as soon as possible. You need to make sure that starting from the day one, in the first week only, you have the clarity that when is your team stand up, what your team actually does, what project has been allocated to you, what is the timeline of the project, right? When they are actually going to review your project, where is the documentation, all the relevant documentation, is that already ready or not, corresponding to that project or not? Because to be very honest, in this very short period of time, you have to make sure that you did the most impactful work that was expected out of you. You just not have to be someone who is meeting the expectation. Try to be someone who is exceeding the expectation. So the first and the foremost thing is to make sure that you sit down with your manager, maybe take out 1 hour or 2 hours with them and see that what expectation they are having from you, right? As an intern, what contribution you are going to make into your corresponding team, right? This is going to give you a good amount of head start and also will help you to understand what it takes to actually maybe grab a PPO or maybe become one of the most impactful interns of your corresponding team. The second most crucial piece of advice that I would like to give all of the students who are going to become an intern this summer is going to be something that was technically that was something that I didn't used to do, and I realized it way later when what is the power of this practice. So the thing that I'm talking about is taking notes during meetings. So when you will actually land up at a big startup or maybe a big MNC or even a small startup also, if the company is something that is already having a lot of code base set up and you are going to contribute to that code base, then trust me, you are going to get a hell lot of jargons to be thrown in front of you. And in every meeting, somebody will just come and ask you and tell you that, okay, this is something that they do. This is how they do. This is how you set up things. This is the feature that you have to work, and boom, done. You will not even realize that how that 1 hour or half an hour goes, and all of that information you have to absorb. Most of the time, people don't have this habit, right? Technically, the attention span of a lot of people is very less. So what happens is they tend to forget what was actually assigned to them. Or if let's say somebody comes, like you are stuck somewhere and somebody comes and tells you, okay, these are the steps that you have to do in order to get yourself unblocked. Now, if you don't take notes or if you don't remember that, then you are going to poke the same person again. That's technically not going to give a very good, I would say, impression of you as an intern. And even this thing is something that is even specific for, even important for a fresh grad who is going to come into a company, right? So always make sure you try to take notes during the meeting. To be very honest, one good hack that can be there, just open the voice recorder of your phone and try to record the most important points or maybe summarize the most important points, right? A lot of times in a lot of meeting softwares, there are captions that come and they technically later summarize the whole meeting. So maybe try to do something like that. At the last, the only thing that will matter is that how much amount of work you were able to pull off without poking someone again and again. Because your PPO is also dependent on the feedback that your team members will give for you. If they are going to say that this person doesn't remember anything and they poke me again and again for the same stuff, then technically you are not the most efficient person to be taken into the team. Because once you are told something, once your task is allocated to you, that is the only period of time when you have the biggest opportunity to ask any questions. Once that time period is done, you have to make sure that you remember that. That means having these kind of notes, having these kind of logs are going to be extremely useful for you. Very less people generally talk about this when they give tips to someone who is actually going to join a company or a startup for the very first time. But this was something that was really impactful for me. In the few initial meetings, I was not taking any notes, and then I realized that I am tending to forget a lot of things. The moment I start taking notes, the moment I start taking a bit of recordings, everything changed so drastically. I was super efficient, and this even helps you, right? For example, let's say it's a Friday evening, somebody told you a task, and then you are like, okay, let's log off and we'll start the work on Monday. You have a 2 big day gaps. There's a very highly likely chance that you are going to forget a lot of things. So do make notes and make sure the impact that you're going to make is going to skyrocket in like just a week. So before moving forward, I would like to tell you about Coding Ninjas, who are also the sponsor of this video. So if you are someone who is preparing for their incoming internship interviews or placement interviews, then Coding Ninjas can be one of the top platforms on which you can practice data structures, algorithms, and learn new software development skills around front-end, back-end, and machine learning. Their courses are curated by top instructors from top big MNCs and startups of India. Also, they are bringing their scholarship test on 29th and 30th of March. This scholarship test is absolutely free of cost. It's going to be a 60-minute test which is going to be around aptitude questions and basic problem solving skills. By giving this test, you can grab 100% scholarship on Coding Ninja's courses and you will get a chance to get free rewards worth rupees 499. This test is absolutely free of cost to get, right? You can attempt this test, it's just of 60 minutes and you will be able to evaluate how much good you are in your aptitude skills, because in a lot of interviews, online tests, aptitude questions are a big part of the problem set. It will help you not just to practice around your incoming interviews, but will help you to get a chance to grab a big scholarship on all of the Coding Ninjas courses. This is the chance to show your true potential and get some bragging rights that you have bagged a very big scholarship on their courses. So what are you waiting for? The link is in the description section. Go to the link, register for the test and try to attempt the test as punctually as possible, and even share this with your friends so that they can also get a chance to attempt the scholarship test. Now let's come back to the video. The third tip that I would like to give all of the budding interns and the fresh grads who are going to join the company is that try to make sure that you manage your time wisely. See, no company is going to ask you to always sit down and give all the 12 hours or 13 hours of effort. In software engineering, the effort is not measured by time. The effort is measured by output. If you're able to make the same amount of output in one day, good for you. If you take 4 days, then good for you. So make sure that whatever time has been there is going to be allocated to you. For example, generally the interns are for 2 months. There are some specific interns which are for 6 months also. So try to make sure that you manage your time wisely. You just have 2 months, approximately 8 weeks. The first week generally goes in the ramp up time. The last week generally goes in the presentation and the presentation preparation of whatever projects you have done. So make sure the middle 6 weeks you are aligning everything as quickly as possible. Make sure whatever tech is required in the team, you know it prior, and in the first week, which is the ramp up time, try to grasp as much as knowledge about the tech stack and as much as knowledge about the project that you are going to work on. Doing this will help you to make sure the next upcoming 6 weeks you are the most efficient, right? Try to take all of the notes, read all of the relevant documentation. One thing that I would like to recommend a lot of people is that when you actually land up in a startup or maybe in a company and you have not ever worked there or maybe never worked in a similar environment, one more thing is that they have a lot of links, they have a lot of documentation links, code pointer links and everything. Try to make sure that you bookmark every piece of information and properly categorize everything. This will help you to make sure that whenever you are going to go back and try to debug the same amount of code, you know where you have to look for, right? Make sure whatever you do saves your time, right? You don't have to do anything that is going to take a lot of time. If you are stuck, make sure you spend some time, half an hour, 1 hour, in trying to figure out what is the relevant details, and then ask questions, because you are not someone who is there in the team for like 5 hours and 5 years and you know everything. Of course not. You are expected that you will be asking a lot of questions. Even someone who is a fresh grad and joins a company, for the first 6 months, people expect that they are going to ask a lot of questions. It's just that you don't need to ask redundant question. If somebody has already told you something, just keep a note of it. But whenever you are stuck, whenever you have a new piece of problem in front of you, maybe it's a good time to ask any of your superior or maybe seniors. A lot of times managers allocate a buddy to a lot of interns and the fresh grads. Try to ask your buddy engineer that you are stuck somewhere. This is going to help you a lot, right? And apart from that, make sure that whenever you are going to ask any question to them, let's say you are blocked and you are going to ask a question to them, don't be like, okay, you are trying to code something, you are getting an error maybe in some unit tests, and you immediately went to your team lead or maybe your buddy and started asking questions. Try to make sure that you have done your end of research. You have technically whatever error is coming, you have Googled it multiple times. A lot of times companies do have their own set of Stack Overflow like blog forums. You have searched there. You have seen similar pull requests or similar features somebody else was also building, and that you have to do. Like, try to do your homework. For example, if you will just directly go to your buddy or team lead and ask questions, and they will ask, okay, what research you have done for it? And if you don't have any question, if you don't have any answers for that, that's not going to throw a very good impression, to be very honest. Make sure you do your end of research. Now, you might feel that, okay, what kind of research we should do? Try to make sure you are already aware about as many relevant code pointers as possible. Try to make sure that you know that if somebody has implemented a similar stuff, how they implemented it. If somebody was stuck in a similar kind of error and that is already available on Stack Overflow or your internal blog forum or somewhere on GitHub or Google, try to make sure that you point that out that, okay, I read this doc, I read this Stack Overflow article, and this was something that they did. Maybe this is not working for our environment. Make sure you do your homework, right? Whenever somebody, let's say a lot of times you have to do cross-team collaboration. Now, just don't go and ask the other team member saying that, okay, how do you guys do that? Try to make sure that you debug a bunch of code flows yourself, right? Maybe put a bunch of logger statements, put your debugger there, try to see, okay, how the code flow actually works. This thing actually helps a lot, right? Because when you actually show up in front of someone and you already have prior knowledge and you are like just an intern or you are just a fresh grad 6 months into the team, this gives a very good impression that, okay, this person already knows about this code pointer. Good, they have done their homework. So this is something that is going to be extremely important. And this particular point is going to throw the maximum impact on each and every team member of yours. When they are going to fill up your corresponding feedback, it's going to be just fabulous. Everyone is going to comment on the fact that this person was not someone who just required anytime ready help. They were able to help themselves also because they were doing their homework. They were doing as many research about the code pointers, relevant documentations, design doc as much as possible. And that's why helping them was easy also. It didn't take a lot of time to help them. This is going to give a really good impression in front of the whole team. The next piece of advice that I would highly recommend to all of the budding interns and the fresh grad software engineers is going to be that whatever task you do, let's say you are a 2-month intern, you have 6 weeks for actual coding stuff, whatever task you are doing daily, take out 15 minutes of the day and try to log it. What you did in what day. Using this, what will happen is you will be having track of where you are spending the most amount of time. And if your manager will, let's say at the end of the week, will ask, okay, what did you do this week? You are not like, oh, let me think. I did this, I did that. Oh, I missed that. You won't be like that. You have your notes, you have your logs. Just tell them, okay, this much amount of time spent was gone there. This much amount of time was done here, and so on and so forth. Why this is more important? Because at last you have to give a presentation and you have to fill a complete documentation around what you did during your internship, what was good, what was bad, what went well, what didn't go well, and so on. If you have your daily tracker or a weekly tracker with you, this kind of documentation filling is going to be really easy. Because maybe during your internship, you did some debugging, you did solve some bugs which were very impactful, but at last you forget about them. If you will not tell someone that I did this impact of work, they are not going to know that, oh, you did this much impactful work. This is something that is going to be extremely important that you need to understand. Whatever amount of work you are actually doing, make sure you log it, right? Whenever you have any kind of achievement, make sure you mention that whenever is asked, right? Try to showcase yourself, try to sell yourself that this is something that I did. This is something that I am doing, because you are the only one who knows the best where the time is going. You are the only one who knows the best what is the complexity of the project. A lot of time what people do is they don't tell the complexity of the project that or any complexity of any debugging or any process to their managers, and the managers feel like, okay, this might be a trivial stuff, but technically that is not. So you need to make sure that you regularly mention it. You keep a tracker of your work, make sure you quantify your work, and make sure you are able to sell all of the great impactful work that you have been doing up till now. The next most important tip that I would like to give everyone is quantify all of your achievements. Now just think about it. If you are yourself a manager and you have an intern, and the intern writes something like develop this feature to increase app usability. Okay, looks good. But then there is intern number 2 who writes something like develop the push notification feature so that the daily active users on the application increased by 8%, or developed a backend service using which the error messaging of the overall application was enhanced by this particular metric, right? So all of these things is going to be as quantitative as possible, and the more quantitative analysis that you are actually able to do, the better impact it is going to create in front of everyone. This is something that you have to keep always in your mind. Never just write vague comments like I did this, implemented this, developed this, so on and so forth. Have a format. Developed a feature based on which we impacted this much amount of users. Developed or engineered a pipeline based on which we impacted these many amount of errors. Try to be as quantitative as possible. When you will show impact, that impact can be based on the revenue, the impact can be on active users, the impact can be around the amount of time, you increase the amount of time that a user is spending on the app, any kind of important metric that is going to impact the business. If you are able to show that business impact, that's going to increase your chances on the internship. Always make sure you are not writing vague comments. Just always write as quantitative things as possible. As I always say, you are the only one who is going to sell whatever you have done. People are not going to come you and help you into telling that, okay, you did this great work also, you did that great work also. Don't be like that. You are not going to be dependent on anyone, because if let's say you even get a PPO, you are going to land up in the same team most probably. Then also you have to make your way through. Everyone is there for their own work. They have their own set of projects. They have their own set of deadlines. They are not going to be always available to you. You are going to be the one who is going to help you a lot. And writing these kind of documentations which are quantitative, which are pointing towards the impact, that okay, this impact I have done, is going to be really great. The next important pointer that I would like to mention to every budding intern is going to be regularly take feedbacks. Now the problem with a lot of people is that they start their internship or maybe their fresh job and they keep on working and then they don't take feedback. And let's say after 6 months, someone comes up and say, you are not doing this particular thing well. Same with an intern. Like you start doing work, people are just like hanging out here and there, doing their work, and they don't care about a lot of feedbacks. And at the end of the internship, they realize, oh, they didn't get the PPO because the manager didn't like that a particular part. Instead, let's say you have a weekly or a bi-weekly one-on-one with your manager, where you actually take constructive feedbacks. Make sure that you ask the manager that what is not going well? What do you think I should improve on? Just realize one simple thing. If you will get the same feedback on the first day, you will be having 5 more weeks to actually work on that. If you will get the same feedback on the last week, there is nothing much left. Okay. So make sure that your one-on-ones are as fruitful as possible. And don't be someone like who is always asking in the one-on-one, what should you improve? Maybe in the last week you did something very impactful. Apart from just asking that what you can do to improve, also ask this question that what I did in the last week which was good and I should keep on doing that. This shows that you are also kind of like pushing something in your manager's mind that don't just think about what I'm not doing well. They have to think about what are you doing well as well. So they have in every week or every bi-weekly, they have a quantitative figure about what you are actually doing impactful and where you can improve. It's the duty of the manager to make sure that your experience as an intern or a fresh grad improves, right? And technically everyone who is having an intern in their team wants to make sure that the intern finally joins the team as well, because they will be having a head count. Just think about it. You are an intern, you worked in the same team for 6 weeks, 8 weeks, and you know some of the process pipelines. If you will not be there, then there will be some fresh grad who is not having no idea. And they will spend 6 more weeks or 8 more weeks to learn the same thing that maybe you learned. So definitely you are the better bet. But you have to make sure that you actually tell your manager or poke your manager that yes, I am the better bet. So make sure you keep on taking feedbacks around what to improve and keep on taking feedbacks around what you did well, and you should continue to do that. That is going to be an extremely crucial part of your internship journey. The next tip that I would like to give all of the budding interns is going to be try to be as proactive as possible. Try to figure out that what is a good opportunity for you. Whenever you get an opportunity to showcase your skills, maybe you are very good at debugging. Let's say Android is something that is you have a very good skill in Android and your team gets a bug around the Android app only. Try to be proactive. Try to take up opportunities that you feel that you can definitely take up and you have bandwidth. Of course, there will be one major project that you have to work on. But apart from that, at any point of time, if you can contribute to the team, you can seek out an opportunity, that is going to be something really helpful. That's why I always tell people that try to be proactive rather than reactive. What's the difference? The person who is reactive generally reacts when something happens. The person who is proactive generally tries to do something which is more impactful, right? They don't wait for someone to come to them and then give the opportunity. They try to seek out the opportunity. This is something that is very important. Try to make sure that you're not only proactive in terms of taking tasks, you are also proactive in communication. Try to meet all the people in your team. Try to make sure you know and talk to them in maybe lunchtime, evening snacks time, and get understanding and learning from their experience. If someone is a 7-year experienced person or 10-year experienced person in your team, then they 5-minute talk with them is going to teach you a lot of things. Just think about it. You are going to get the whole lunch to do with all of these super talented folks. So you can learn a hell lot of things. It's just that you should be the one who is breaking the ice. You should be the one who wants to ask good questions, who wants to ask something that is going to enhance your own knowledge. So try to make sure that you are proactive in terms of not only the task, but as well as the communication and the overall team collaboration as well. So at last, I just want to say that whether you join an MNC or you join a startup, whether you join a tech internship or a non-tech internship, it doesn't matter. All of these pointers are going to be consistent. The folks who are going to join maybe a tech startup or a tech MNC, one more thing can be there with you, that you get to know a lot of jargons, you get to know a lot of portals, technologies. Just try to make sure that you remember them, try to bookmark things, try to ask as many questions as possible, because you are considered that you will be asking a lot of questions. So don't hesitate, right? The better communication you will do, the better experience you will be having as an intern. And always make sure that whatever week goes, you learn something new. Learning something new during your tenure as an intern is going to be really impactful for you. That being said, let's just wrap this video here. I hope you guys enjoyed the video and got something new to learn. I wish all of the people who are going to join a startup or a company as an intern a very good intern season, and all of those people who are still hustling to get an intern, I would really wish all of you a very good luck. Try to make sure that you do your coding assignments. Try to make sure you take out time in doing projects, in doing competitive coding, whatever is required to make sure that you bang on the next internship. Be active on LinkedIn. Try to keep on figuring out new opportunities that is coming in the market. Everything is going to be fine. You guys will also bang on a very good internship. That being said, let's just wrap this video here. We are going to meet soon in the next set of videos where we'll talk about more interesting thing around the tech industry. Till then, take care guys. Bye-bye. I am Sanket Singh, working as a software engineer at Google, signing off.